Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something, well, pretty intense.
Yeah.
It's all thanks to one of our listeners who shared some fascinating material excerpts from the Book of Krav Maga, the Bible, by Yaron Lichtenstein.
Hmm.
So our mission today is to really dig into this text, pull out the key ideas, and, maybe find some things that are a bit surprising about Krav Maga.
And we should probably mention right off the bat, there's a warning in the book itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it says it contains Krav Maga secrets for self-defense and basically advises real caution. Don't just try this stuff without proper instruction. It's serious business.
Right, serious stuff. That sets a certain tone. And you feel that seriousness in the dedication, too. It's dedicated to Imi Lichtenfeld.
The founder.
Exactly, the founder of Krav Maga. And Yaron Lichtenstein, the author, gives this really personal thanks for Imi's guidance, his vision, wanting to spread Krav Maga. It really makes you wonder about that vision.
It does. And you see that vision echoed in the acknowledgments. People from all over Japan, New York, Canada, Israel, Poland, Mexico, Brazil, Germany.
Wow, quite the list.
Yeah, they all apparently helped get this book published, fulfilling Imi's wish to share the art globally. It really speaks to how widespread the need or desire for this kind of self-defense is.
Definitely not just a local thing. And there's a personal layer, too, isn't there? Lichtenstein thanks his family.
Right, and he mentions his daughter, calls her his shahafe, says she needs her own book. It kind of hints at this deep family connection passing down the legacy.
It really humanizes it, doesn't it? It's not just techniques.
Not at all. And there's also this picture mentioned, the first Krav Maga manual from 1971.
Right, with Imi and his student Zvilan.
Yeah, it ties this modern book right back to the origins to the people. Establishes that historical context.
Okay, so let's get into the prologue. Yaron talks about meeting Imi. How does he describe him?
As surprising and deeply dedicated. But what really jumps out is how Yaron got the job of writing this book.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, Yaron was apparently only a black belt for about 4 years at the time. Relatively early days,
Yeah.
And Imi basically entrusted him with this huge mission, translate his teachings, get them into English, other languages. Imi saw it as absolutely crucial.
Wow, 4 years in. That's a massive amount of trust.
It really is. It says a lot about Yaron's dedication, maybe his ability to communicate what Imi wanted. Imi clearly thought this was vital work.
And it wasn't just about word-for-word translation, right? It was more about the spirit.
Exactly. Capturing the founder's essence, the unique Israeli context that Krav Maga came out of. Yaron emphasizes he was Imi's student for 40 years, so that long connection is key.
40 years, okay.
And even before we get to the punches and kicks, there's this philosophical bit right near the start.
What's that?
Something like, the domination over the foot and the different kicking techniques is the biggest challenge standing in front of us.
Huh.
Domination over the foot. Yeah, it immediately signals how important mastering the fundamentals is. Precision control right from the ground up, literally.
Sets the stage. Okay, so let's dive into those fundamentals. And surprisingly, maybe the book starts with falling. Blimo.
That's right. Blimont falls. And it's not treated as an afterthought like, oh yeah, try not to get hurt when you fall.
Right?
In Krav Maga, according to this book, learning to fall correctly is a primary skill. It's taught early because it underpins everything else. Control your body, minimize injury, stay functional.
The book mentions this idea, falling as a way to not fall. That sounds a bit paradoxical.
Well, think about the underlying principle. It's about meeting force with relaxation, with control, not just stiff resistance.
Okay.
So by learning to fall properly, you absorb the impact, protect yourself, and crucially, you stay ready to react. You're essentially turning a bad situation, the fall itself, into a transition, staying in the fight.
Makes sense. So what kind of falls are we talking about? The book lists a few.
Yeah, there's Blima. That's a fall, forward or backward, usually from a direct push.
Okay.
Then Blima, the side fall. And this one's apparently nuanced, like how you do it depends on which side is leading. It's about spreading the impact.
Got it.
Blima is a forward fall, sometimes towards or even past the attacker. And the emphasis there is clearly on protecting your head.
Crucial.
And then there's one called Blima Kisha Lefenim, described as difficult, complicated, even dangerous. Seems it's for very specific, nasty attacks.
And they make a distinction between these falls and falls in, say, judo.
Yeah, the book points that out. The difference seems to be the immediate intent. In Krav Maga, the fall often flows directly into a ground-based counterattack or getting back up.
Right.
Whereas in judo, while safe falling or yukimi is vital, The focus might shift more towards continuing techniques on the ground. Krav Maga seems focused on neutralizing the immediate threat and regaining a stable, standing position, ASAP.
Okay, interesting distinction. Let's move to another core concept taught early. Mutsa, the triangle principle.
Ah, yes, absolutely fundamental. This triangle, formed by your feet, it's introduced right away because it's the base for, well, pretty much everything.
Stability, right.
Stability, balance, efficient movement, power generation for strikes and defenses. It's like your foundation. Think maybe a boxer's stance, but with very specific Krav Maga rules.
How is it taught initially? What does the stance look like?
The book says you start fairly open, legs apart for a solid base. Then you take a good-sized step forward with one leg.
Okay.
The key thing is keeping balance, weight-centered, ready to push off either foot, move forwards or backwards easily, ready to react.
And getting the triangle just right seems important.
Very. The book stresses that even small changes in foot placement affect your balance, your ability to move powerfully.
So how is the triangle defined?
The line connecting your heels is the base. And the third point, the apex, is determined by where you're intending to move or direct energy. Simple concept, visually, but huge implications for effectiveness.
Right. Okay, foundation set. Let's talk offense. Mokat Agrof, Smolyam. Left and right, fist punches. Basic, but key.
Exactly. Presented as primary tools, effective even early on, the book distinguishes hard punches, tight knuckles, for impact,
Right.
and soft punches, maybe for control, or if your hand isn't perfectly set for a full power strike.
And getting power isn't just arm strength, is it?
Oh, definitely not. It's about whole body mechanics, transferring your weight forward, using your legs, your core rotation. It's a coordinated movement.
And there's a safety tip mentioned.
Crucial one. Never lock the elbow straight when you punch. Always keep a slight bend. Prevents hyperextension, serious injury.
Good tip. The book breaks these punches down further.
Yeah, variations based on footwork. Smolba hit kadmet, that's a left punch stepping forward.
Right.
Smolba heziga, left punch stepping back.
Okay.
And the same for the right. Yamen behed kabet and yamen beheziga, stepping forward or backward with the right lead.
So always involving a step with the punch.
Well, interestingly, it notes there isn't really a simple right punch without a step. The idea being your right hand is usually further back in the stance.
Oh, I see.
So that step is needed to get the reach and power effectively.
And there's even detail on how to make the fist itself.
Oh yeah, very specific. Step by step on closing the hand from the Matsa stance. The big emphasis is on folding the thumb correctly.
How so?
Tightly pressed against the side of the index and middle fingers, creates a solid fist, protects the thumb. It shows the level of detail that even something seemingly simple is broken down precisely.
It really does. Okay, so beyond the classic fist, Krav Maga uses open hands too. Makot zertit.
Exactly. It's about adapting. Sometimes an open hand is faster or targets a specific vulnerability better, like makat espat.
Sounds great.
By eyes. The goal is speed, disruption, quick incapacitation. Very direct.
And the palm heel strike? Makat pisat hayad.
That's more for pushing back, creating distance. Uses the heel of the palm, it can deliver significant blunt force, potentially causing fractures, if aimed right, like the nose or sternum. Uses a tougher part of the hand.
Then there are more finger-based strikes.
Yes, like makot etspad, yeshara lefanim, a straight finger jab.
And where's that aimed?
The book says neck or throat, highlights the potential danger, the focus on vulnerable targets again. It's pragmatic.
Pragmatic is a good word. The list goes on. Hammer fist, swinging punch.
Right. Makat patish, hammer fist. Makat swinger, swinging punch. Even things like makat etspot makupalat, punch with folded fingers. Makat imperak hagudal, thumb knuckle punch.
Lots of options.
A whole toolbox for the hands.
Yeah.
Makat etspot alamat, like a sheaf of fingers. Makat egraf hafuch, reverse fist. Each has its place, its target. You really see that theme. Use what's available, hit what's vulnerable, end it quickly.
Precision is key for these, hitting those specific spots.
Absolutely. Requires coordination, knowing the targets, not just flailing, aiming to disable the threat efficiently.
Okay, let's shift to the lower body. Kicks. The book stresses their importance.
Definitely. Legs are stronger, longer reach than arms generally, so kicks are vital. It even says the first 7 regular kicks are learned at yellow belt.
Right at the beginning.
Shows their foundational importance.
And again, emphasis on doing them correctly.
Exactly. The text notes that proper execution really demonstrates the physical demands and the need for good training. It's not easy.
So the first one detailed is beta regula lefanim, regular front kick. Key points.
You aim with the knee first, then snap the lower leg out. Striking surface is the karat calf herigal.
The ball of the foot.
Right. Ball of the foot, toes pulled back, and again, straighten the knee, but don't lock it. Protect the joint.
And the target for this specific kick?
The book is very explicit. Always the opponent's testicles.
Oof. Direct. Okay. Next is Beta Regula Lafanum Bihit Kadmut, the advancing version.
Yeah, this one involves moving forward. You step diagonally forward with the left leg as you kick with the right. Described as a trouble terminator.
Trouble terminator. I like that. And it's often paired with something else.
Yes. Often followed immediately by a makat batish, that hammer fist.
Why?
The idea is if the groin kick makes the opponent double over,
Right.
the hammer fist targets the nape of their neck. But interestingly, the book adds a legal caveat here.
Oh.
It says the hammer fist in this combo isn't meant to kill, but to subdue, acknowledging the realities of self-defense law.
Important point. Then we have Beata Regula Lizanter, another groin kick.
Yes, regular kick to the groin. This was described as shorter, faster than the first front kick. Still targeting the groin, still using the ball of the foot, but maybe more of a quick snapping motion.
Speed over power, perhaps?
Seems like it for certain situations.
And another one aimed at the testicles. Betita Regula Lizanter Velashakim.
Yeah, the groin is clearly a primary target early on. This one starts from a slightly different stance, leg lifts to 90 degrees, then kicks forward. Again, the book reminds about safe practice distance.
And it mentions something about the chin.
Right, it says the final position might look like it's aimed at the chin, but the actual intent remains the testicles.
Okay. There's one more front kick variation mentioned, Benitor, with a jump step.
Beitara regula lefanum pehit kadmat benitor. Yes, this adds a jump step to the side before the kick. More dynamic, more advanced movement. Still striking with the ball of the foot.
Adds complexity. Now, shifting focus slightly, there's a drill called Shlosh Miat Shishim Malat, 360 degrees.
Ah, yes. This sounds like a core training method. It's for coordination, balance, and crucially, reacting to threats from any direction. All-around awareness.
How does the drill progress?
It builds up. Starts with 12 defenses against 6 hand attacks, then partner work, attack, and defense. Then defending against punches specifically, and finally adding leg defenses into the mix.
So it layers complexity.
Exactly. Instilling that ability to respond fluidly no matter where the attack comes from.
And there's a tip for the defender in this drill.
Look at the attacker's eyes. To anticipate their movement shows the importance of reading your opponent, not just reacting blindly.
Okay, moving into specific defenses. Haganot Mimiot, inside defenses. The first one is palm defense against a punch plus a counterattack.
Right. You're in Amadat Mansa, maintain distance. As the punch comes, you step forward, block inward with your palm, and simultaneously counter-strike with your other hand, usually to the chin.
Efficient. Defense and offense together.
That's a recurring theme. Now, the book also covers Bitat Hagana, defense kicks. Sounds like a whole category.
It is.
Lots of variations listed. Regular kicks used defensively, backward kicks, knife kicks, heel kicks, kicks with steps or jumps.
But their purpose is different from the offensive kicks.
Generally, yes. The book describes many of these as soft kicks.
Soft?
Meaning the main goal isn't necessarily damage, but rather to push the opponent away, create space, break their momentum. More about control and defense than ending the fight with that single pick.
Got it. Let's look at a couple. Bitat Sagan, knife kicks. They use the heel.
That's right. The edge or heel of the foot, like a blade edge. For control and penetration. 3 variations are mentioned. Side, side with advancing step, side stepping backwards. Gives you defensive options at different angles.
And Beitat Akev, heel kicks. Also defensive.
These are described as having strong hitting power, even defensively, aimed at vital, unprotected areas. The list includes variations combining a regular kick with a heel strike, heel kicks to the side, even a heel kick to the groin. So the heel is a versatile weapon, both offensively and defensively.
The book sums up footwork for kicks later too, right?
Yeah, kind of recaps, reinforces that front kicks, Beitat Regula Lefanum, use the ball of the foot. Defense kicks, Beitat Hagana, might use the ball, the heel, or the whole foot, depending on the situation. Heel kicks, Beitat Akev, use the heel for power and control. It even mentions specific foot positions for other kicks, like the small toes for a roundhouse, Beitat Magal, or the sole for a knife kick, Beitat Talakan. It's all about mastering that foot position for the specific technique.
Such detail. Okay, let's talk about getting out of holds. Haviyaka Melefanim's hands-free. Front chokes or grabs where your hands aren't trapped.
Right. The book gives a few options. Release 1, create space, bend back, strike the nose with a palm heel, Makat Pisat Hayad.
Okay.
Release 2, more direct, Thumbs into the opponent's eyes, push away.
Aggressive.
Very. Release 3. Again, palm heel strike to the nose, but with a definite pushing motion to neutralize them.
What if your hands are gripped in the front hold? Havika Malafanam Baharama with a lift.
Different situation, needs a different response. The book describes grabbing the attacker's shirt, hooking a leg behind theirs, then pulling them towards you while pushing with your knee to break their balance.
Yeah.
Then follow up by striking their gripping hand hard, using your leg leverage to help throw them off. Much more involved.
Definitely. What about holds from behind? Release from Havika Michur, hands free.
The absolute first, most critical thing mentioned is bend forward immediately. Makes it much harder for the attacker to lift you off the ground or apply full pressure. Buys you time and stability. Then it describes the follow-up moves to break the hold itself.
Okay, practical advice. Shifting gears to the training environment.
Yeah.
The uniform.
The gi. Simple white top, white pants. The book says it's practical, allows movement, absorbs sweat.
Functional.
And the belt system is standard, showing rank by color. But it makes a point about Imi, the founder.
What was his view?
He apparently insisted on plain white, no rainbow of colors. The focus should be on the quality of the training, the professionalism, not on flashy appearances. Substance over style.
Interesting philosophy. Now, the book summarizes key points for each belt. Let's hit some highlights for yellow belt. Points to remember.
Okay, yellow belt, core stuff. The triangle principle, Amidat Matza, is crucial for balance.
Right.
The hardest punch is considered the small Yashara Lefanim. Straight left forward. Don't lock the elbow on punches. Fold the thumb tightly. Rotate the right heel on a right punch. Punch power comes from retraction speed too. Small yamin punches are long range. Hook, magol, and uppercut, snokerit, are short range. Hammer fist, padish, targets the nape. Specific coordination for the advancing front kick hammer fist combo. Detailed aiming points for open hand strikes. Zertit.
Got it.
For kicks, aim with the knee, don't lock the knee joint. For rear choke release, thumb folded in the palm. Backward fall, blima leechers downwards, not just falling back, and involves a kick and knee lock follow-up. And you learn 6 regular kicks. Beitat Rekala, foundational stuff.
Really covers the bases. What about the step up to orange belt? What new principles or refinements come in?
Orange belt, points to remember. Aiming point for backward kicks, Beitat Leecher, is the attacker's advancing heel. Difference between regular kicks, land forward, and defense kicks, return to stance. Learn the 3 roundhouse kicks, Beitat Magal. Regular, slanting Behataya, and combat, Kravet.
Okay, new kicks.
Difference between outside, Hitsoniat, and inside, Domestics, relates to the stance used. In hold releases, Shikuro Mahavikat, priority is not getting lifted. In rear holds, Havika Michur, bend forward first, whether hands are free or gripped.
Consistent theme there.
Practice please holds Tefset Shitter tons from all angles. Rolling, Gilgal, is a way to move between stances while avoiding hits, minimizing ground contact. The book notes rolling isn't natural for humans.
True.
Power in the backward roundhouse kick, Bitet Magal Leecher, comes from the parallel arm movement, which also aids balance. Outside defenses 1, 2, 3 are similar, so people find their natural preference. Defend punches at the last second. Backward rolls, Gilgal Leecher. One type ends on knees, the other keeps knees off the ground entirely. Big emphasis in orange belt. Start training to the left side, equally left punches, left rolls, and you learn a whole bunch of rolls. Forward, forward, backward, judo roll, left side rolls, regular backward, backward without knees.
Wow, a lot of development at orange belt. Much more dynamic movement, ambidexterity.
Definitely. You see the system building complexity layer by layer.
That's a fantastic overview based just on those early belt sections. So for everyone listening, the takeaway seems to be that Krav Maga, at least as presented in this book, is incredibly comprehensive, practical.
Absolutely. It's rooted in these core principles. Efficiency of movement, hitting vital targets, even falling right is step 1. There's a clear logic from the basic stance and falls up through strikes, defenses, rolls, releases, all focused on ending the threat.
And it's not just the physical moves, is it? There's this underlying philosophy, too. Adaptability, decisive action.
Exactly. That comes through strongly.
You know, digging into just this part of the book, it really highlights that intense focus on, well, what works in a real situation, maybe more than traditional forms or aesthetics.
Right. It's very direct.
It makes you wonder, could that kind of pragmatic, efficiency-first mindset apply elsewhere? Not just self-defense, but other challenges we face. Getting straight to the effective solution.
That's a really interesting thought. The Krav Maga approach to problem solving, essentially.
Yeah. And clearly the depth we've seen in just these yellow and orange belt sections, it just hints at a vast amount of knowledge here. we've really only scratched the surface.
Oh, for sure. This book seems packed. If it's piqued anyone's interest, there's obviously a lot more to potentially explore in Krav Maga.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive today. Fascinating stuff.